Defense versus offense. West Coast versus Midwest. Hello, I'm Dependent Fanatic here, and I am here with a preview for you for Michigan's contest versus UCLA. It is number 15, 4-1 Michigan, going to Southern Cal to play the 4-1 Trojans. Hello, it's a preview for all of you here. It's on NBC at 7:30 Eastern Time, so 4:30 Pacific Time where the game is going to be played. So it's going to start during the day. Most of it's going to be light, and then it'll get dark towards the end, depending on how long this game goes. But in this preview, I always do the opposing offense versus Michigan's defense, and then Michigan's defense versus offense versus the opposing defense. So here we go. Michigan won a really close game in Ann Arbor last year to open up this Big Ten series, and man, it was a close one, and it took a Mullings rumbling long run to get Michigan within striking distance to win that game late in the game. So let's talk about USC's offense real quick. Some stats. They're getting 48 points per game. They are getting 338 passing yards per game, 227 rushing yards per game. Versus the likes of Purdue, Michigan State, and Illinois. And then Michigan's defense. They are giving up 16 points per game is all. So USC's scoring 48, Michigan's only allowing 16. Something's got to give there. And then passing yards per game, Michigan's only allowing 206, which is quite a bit actually, more than I would like them to have. But at rushing yards per game, they're only allowing 77. I think they overtook Wisconsin after Michigan ran all up and down their throat last week. They might have the best rush defense in the nation now with Michigan. And that was versus the likes of Oklahoma, Nebraska, Wisconsin. You get it. So, and the most Michigan's defense has allowed all season is 27 points. Let's talk about Lincoln Riley's latest great quarterback, which is Jaden Mayava. Took over last year, back in his second year. He's 98 of 139. That's 71%. He has 1,587 yards already. 11 touchdowns to just one interception, and he's only been sacked 3 times this season. So he is going to be key. Can we get him? Can we get to him? Michigan is famous for getting tons of pressure and having the quarterback flustered, but we can't get those sacks for some reason. Quarterbacks are getting the ball out of their hands, and I think this is another guy that can do just that. At running back, they have Waymond Jordan, USC does. 77 carries for 537 yards. That's a 7-yard average per carry, and he has 5 rushing touchdowns. Also, he catches the ball, 6 catches for 49 yards. They got a couple more running backs worth noting. Eli Sanders, 47 carries for 264 yards, 5.6 average, and 2 rushing touchdowns. And he catches the ball, 7 catches for 115 yards and a touchdown. And then King Miller comes in for 11 carries for 152 yards, a 13.8 average, and he has 2 touchdowns. So I'm guessing both those touchdowns were huge long runs. Anyway, at tight end they got a couple, but mainly Lake McCree has the 12 catches for 248 yards. That's 20.7 average per reception, and he has a touchdown. Walker Lyons has 10 catches, 107 yards. That's 10.7 average, and he has 2 receiving touchdowns. At wide receiver, Makai Lemon has 35 catches for 589 yards already, and that's a 16.8 average per reception. Wink Martindale in that secondary has to keep an eye on Makai Lemon. He has 5 receiving touchdowns. Jacoby Lane has 13 catches for 278 yards. That's 21.4 average and 1 touchdown. Tanuk Hines, 9 catches for 95 yards, 10.6 average, and 1 touchdown. So the theme here is Maeva spreads the ball around, gets everyone touchdowns, and they're all long bombs or run after catch. Nothing short going on here with USC's passing attack. But now, let's look at Michigan's defense, shall we? And this defense is truly at least 2 deep at every position. Every single position, they have at least 2 guys that come in and play well. The defensive line goes 10 deep. I'm going to list that have production here. Just the defensive line. Trey Pierce at D tackle has 13 tackles. Also at D tackle, Rayshon Benny, 12 tackles, 1.5 sack. Damon Payne, 7 tackles. Eno Etta, 7 tackles and a half a sack. Trey Williams, 5 tackles and a pass breakup. Now let's talk about the defensive ends. Jayshon Barham, since he's been moved there, he's been electric. People are chipping him, double teaming him. They're not playing him all the time either. I don't understand that, but he needs to be out on the field in this one every down. 19 tackles, 3 sacks, 1 pass breakup. Derek Moore, 12 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and a pass breakup. Cameron Brandt, 10 tackles and half a sack. TJ Guy, 7 tackles and an interception from his end position. It was tipped in the air and it went to him. And then defensive end Dominic Nichols has 7 tackles and a sack. At linebacker, got 4 of those. Ernest Hausman, 31 tackles, 1 sack, 1 pass breakup. Jimmy Roller, 28 tackles, 1 sack, 1 pass breakup. Cole Sullivan, 22 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, and a fumble recovery. And Troy Bowles, 8 tackles, 1 sack, and a forced fumble. Why am I giving you all? It just proves that Michigan has depth. They're going to be able to rotate in when USC's not going tempo. When they substitute, we can substitute and stay fresh this whole game. It's very important. In the defensive backfield, our free safety leads the way. Brandon Hillman, 23 tackles, 1 pass breakup, and an interception. Cornerback Jair Hill has 18 tackles, 1 sack, and 4 pass breakups. Jaden Sanders, a cornerback, has 18 tackles and a pass breakup. Nickelback TJ Metcalf has 17 tackles, 2 pass breakups, and an interception. Strong safety Mason Curtis has 11 tackles and 1 pass breakup. Jaden Mangum has 9 tackles and 2 pass breakups. Cornerback Elijah Dotson has 7 tackles and an interception. Zeke Berry has 6 tackles and 3 pass breakups. And don't forget, Rod Moore is now back, and he has an interception in the last game that he played. So, good luck with that, Lincoln Riley. Now let's talk about Michigan's offense versus USC's defense. Points per game, Michigan's getting 33 per game. Passing yards per game, 201. Rushing yards per game, 238. USC's defense is giving up 23 points per game. So a 10-point difference there. Passing yards per game, they're giving up 251. So, and rushing yards per game, 108. So they're much better at stopping the run. They give up a lot of passing yards. I wonder because, teams they get ahead of teams and then that's all they can do is pass the ball. And they get effective because you're just playing soft coverage because you have the win in most of those games. I don't know, but Bryce Underwood and company better be licking their chops here in this one. Speaking of Bryce Underwood, he is 77 of 30 for 59%, but 15% of his passes have been dropped. And that would equate to about a 73% percentage if the receivers would just hang on to the ball, and he'd have more than the 1,003 yards that he has, maybe more than the 3 passing touchdowns that he has, to just 1 interception. He's been sacked 5 times, though. 2 of those, he fumbled the ball. He's got 27 carries as well, sacks included in those carries, for 181 yards rushing. That is a 6.7 average, and he has 3 rushing touchdowns. He's a dynamic athlete. He has pinpoint accuracy. Just need better receivers, or the receivers we have to get better. Justice Haynes is the workhorse of the backfield. Heisman hopeful. If there is a running back, Heisman hopeful. 85 carries for 654 yards. That's a 7.7 average per rush. He has 8 rushing touchdowns. Jordan Marshall backs him up. 45 carries for 233 yards, a 5.2 average. And he has 3 rushing touchdowns. Marlon Klein is the tight end. 11 catches, 137 yards, 12.5 average, and 1 touchdown. And I heard that Hogan Hansen is probably going to be back in this game. Another big body threat at tight end. Good hands on that guy, so that would help tremendously. And then wide receivers, we got Donovan McCulley, 19 catches for 309 yards, 16.3 average per reception, and 1 touchdown. And then Samaj Morgan is still playing a lot. He's still the returner. He's got 16 catches for 187 yards, 11.7 average, and a touchdown. Channing Goodwin, I just mentioned him because he's still got 7 catches for 112 yards, and that's a 16-yard average when he catches the ball. He's one of those big droppers. And then Andrew Marsh, the freshman, got the start last game and had 4 catches for 80 yards versus Wisconsin. He's got 5 for 110 overall. That's a 22-yard average per reception. Excited about that youngster. Now, what can they do versus USC's defense? Not as many defensive linemen that we have to worry about that Michigan has, that USC has to worry about. But we'll start with defensive tackle, just the same. Devin Tompkins has 15 tackles, a sack, and 1 pass breakup. Keyshawn Silver has 7 tackles. And Floyd Boucard has 5 tackles and a sack. At defensive end, there's 4 pretty good ones. Braylon Shelby, 13 tackles, 3.5 sacks. Cameron Crawford, 12 tackles, 2.5 sacks. Anthony Lucas, 9 tackles and 2 sacks. And then Jakeem Stewart came in for 7 tackles and 1 fumble recovery. At linebacker, you got 2 really good ones, but I'll go 3 deep for you. Eric Gentry has 35 tackles, 3 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. So watch out for him when he's tackling you. He might force a fumble. Desmond Stevens has 25 tackles, and Jaden Walker has 7 tackles. In the backfield, you got five good ones, at least with any production, that is. A couple of safeties to start. Bishop Fitzgerald, 25 tackles, 1 pass breakup, 3 interceptions, and 1 of those went for a touchdown. Kristen Pierce, you got Bishop and Christian on the back end. We call them the holy couple or something. 21 tackles, 1 sack, 1 pass breakup, and 1 fumble recovery. Marcellus Williams, 15 tackles at cornerback. Also at cornerback, DeCarlos Nicholson has 9 tackles, a sack, and an interception. And safety Kamari Ramsey has 7 tackles and 1 pass breakup. So there's the production of both teams on both sides. There is one good thing about this game. Michigan is traveling out west early. They're going to get there on Friday. And they will use Jim Harbaugh, Michigan's former head coach. He's now the head coach for the Chargers. They're going to use his training facility at the Chargers organization. And they will practice there, which absolutely helps Michigan. Hopefully it helps with the jet lag. Hopefully it helps with the time change differential, your body clock. It should just be great. It's been hot as hell here in Michigan, so that shouldn't be a factor either. USC is favored by 2.5 points in this game. Normally, a home team is favored by, they get a field goal, 3 points. If it's an even game, that means they think Michigan is the better team, but it's on the road. All the things I just said. Michigan has to move the chains, of course, just like they always do when they win games, to control time of possession. But I expect Michigan, and they have to do this, go up tempo and maybe have a couple of quick strikes like we did versus Wisconsin, just to keep USC's defense off balance and guessing. They will need to keep up with USC at times as well, I think, because their offense is elite. Yeah, it can be slowed down, and Wink Martindale is that coach. Michigan's defense throughout the past few years has been that defense to shut down a great quarterback and elite weapons. But USC has proven that they can run the ball too. I picture prediction time. I predict I wanted to go like an overtime game. Wouldn't that be thrilling? 27-27 overtime. And in that case, I think because Michigan will have the short field on both offense and defense and overtime, Michigan would win that game. But it's not going to overtime. But Michigan still wins this game 34-27. So we break away at the end. Justice Haynes gets his long touchdown run that he didn't get in the last game. But he will in this one on the West Coast, further solidifying his chances for the Heisman Trophy. So there you go. Michigan will be 5-1, handing USC their second conference loss, which I don't think any teams with 2-loss conference teams. Maybe one of them will get in. Maybe one will get in. But I picture at least one conference loss or none in the Big Ten championship game this year. So this is a huge game for them. It's a huge game for Michigan because we got to prove ourselves too. And I think they do. Thank you, everybody, for watching. What do you think in the comments below? I got 34-27 Michigan in a classic of a game out there in Pasadena. Or not Pasadena. Wherever they're at. Southern Cal. Anyway, have a great day out there and go blue.